Hey everyone, and welcome back to LA Noire. On this video, we're gonna go to all 30 landmarks and pick up the Star Map trophy. Alright, our first landmark is one we've already got. It's the 4th Street Viaduct. I'll show you on the map. It's right here, and let me highlight that location. The 4th Street Viaduct. Built in 1931, the 4th Street Bridge replaced the last remaining wooden bridge over the LA River. It exhibits a range of architectural styles, from Beaux Arts in its 4 concrete towers to Gothic Revival in its porticos, lighting standards, and railings. The 6th Street Viaduct. Makes it really hard to target these things once you're there. Come on. There we go. 6th Street Viaduct. The 6th Street Viaduct was the last of LA's Grand River bridges to be built, connecting the downtown and Boyle Heights areas when it opened in 1932. 2/3 of a mile long, its twin steel arch design comes from the classical modern school of architecture.
Broadcasting from Los Angeles,
the National Biscuit Company.
TI Radio.
Edmund Jacques Eckel was commissioned by the National Biscuit Company to design their new cracker bakery in 1924. The building was completed the following year, standing 7 stories tall and coming in at a cost of $2 million.
$1 million for the purchase of some rather exclusive
LA Cold Storage Company. The Los Angeles Cold Storage Company built its first ice production plant in 1895. Feeding the growing city meant keeping produce fresh, and the 6-story 4th Street warehouse was constructed, with more than 1 million cubic feet of freezer space. Okay, and we're at Union Station. Designed in part by John and Donald Parkinson, Union Station was opened in 1939 and cost $11 million to build. Its grand tile and marble waiting room and outdoor garden patios have led it to being called the last of the great railway stations. Okay, and this is El Pueblo de Los Angeles. The El Pueblo de Los Angeles monument marks the spot where the city of Los Angeles was founded. A site was chosen by missionary Father Juan Crespi, and the settlement party of just 11 families established the Pueblo town on September 4th, 1781.
Oh, I'm afraid
Chinatown.
someday you leave me.
The first so-called Chinatown was built by American filmmakers, fitted out as a movie set complete with a miniature Great Wall. It burned down in 1939, and construction of New Chinatown was coordinated and financed by the Chinese American Association. It's the Hall of Records. The distinctive twin Gothic towers of the Hall of Records rise above a domed skylight some 50 feet across. The glasswork depicts a mountain cave overgrown with plants and wildflowers, and a waterfall chandelier hangs downward over the lobby. Which does not exist anymore. We broke it.
Here's a story.
That right in front of me is Angel's Flight. The Los Angeles Incline Railway was built in 1901, earning the title of World's Shortest Railroad. Renamed Angel's Flight in 1912, it operated with a good safety record until 1943, when a sailor attempting to walk up the track was crushed by one of the cars. That right there is the Bradbury Building. The Bradbury was commissioned by Louis L. Bradbury. It is most remarkable for its interior, a skylit Victorian court with cage elevators, marble staircases, and ornate ironwork railings, all inspired by the futurist writings of Edward Bellamy. And here we have the LA Public Library. Bertram Grosvenor Goodhue drew on ancient Egypt to create his high temple-like central library. The building is roofed over with a mosaic pyramid, and a sculptured torch-bearing hand stands at the apex, representing the scientific light of learning. And this is Pershing Square. LA's most famous architect, John Parkinson, redesigned the site in 1910, adding a grand fountain supported by concrete cherubs. In 1918, the park was renamed after General John J. Pershing, and it played host to recruitment rallies throughout World War II. And this is Main Street Terminal. Also known as the Pacific Electric Building, the Huntington Building, or simply 6th and Main, this rail and bus terminal was completed in 1905. For more than 4 decades, the 9-story structure was regarded as the largest west of the Mississippi. The RKO Theater. The Hill Street Theater opened in March 1922, when a high-level merger created the Radio Keith Orpheum Picture Company. In 1928, it was renamed the RKO Theater. It seated nearly 3,000 and hosted live vaudeville shows as well as films. The Los Angeles Examiner. This building, opened in 1914, served as headquarters for the Los Angeles Examiner. On January 15, 1947, the Examiner was first to break the story of a young woman found butchered in Leimert Park. An Examiner reporter christened her the Black Dahlia. The Intolerance Set. The Great Wall of Babylon set was built for D.W. Griffith's silent epic Intolerance. More than 3,000 extras paraded past the altar and throne, beneath 8 giant plaster elephants. The film, the most expensive ever produced at the time, flopped at the box office. The Christ Crown of Thorns. Built in 1858, Christ Crown of Thorns was a Gothic revival masterpiece, but fell into disrepair after a tree collapsed the roof in the storm of September 1939. A work of lead light rises above the abandoned altar, depicting the crucifixion and a weeping virgin.
Unit to handle code 3, identify.
The Good Samaritan Hospital. Oh, and this one didn't let me look at it. Oh well, there it is. In 1885, Sister Mary Wood opened a care facility with just 9 beds. Briefly known as the Los Angeles Hospital and Home for Invalids, the center was renamed when a Good Samaritan donated funding for new property and larger quarters. The Mayfair Hotel. The Mayfair was built in 1926, and its architecture and styling is typical of the Roaring Twenties. Glass etchings, brass fixtures, and grand columns in its lobby. Raymond Chandler lived at the Mayfair briefly before he found success as an author. Westlake Tar Pits. Father Juan Crespi wrote of Los Volcanos da Brea in 1769. By 1901, archaeological specimens were emerging, including the skeleton of a human female in 1914. Trauma to her skull suggests that she may have been LA's first recorded homicide. LA County Art Museum. This site hosted racing and gambling until 1909. When concerned citizens had it recreated as a cultural center, the museum kept fine art, while the Rose Garden hid wonders such as a sphere within a sphere, celestial model, or armillary sphere. MacArthur Park.
Negative, 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190. 190
Westlake Park was established in 1863, with the idea of beautifying the city and providing a democratic space that would be available to people from all walks of life. On May 7, 1942, the park took the name of General Douglas MacArthur. Park Plaza. Built in 1925, architect Claude Beelman designed the Park Plaza as a lodge for the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. A passage of scripture is carved above the entranceway, and sculpted angels look down from the facade. Bullocks, Wilshire. Bullocks, Wilshire. John and Donald Parkinson designed an Art Deco monument to house this upmarket department store, which opened in 1929. The 241-foot tower was paneled with green-tinted copper, and notable customers included Greta Garbo, John Wayne, and Clark Gable. The Brown Derby. The original Brown Derby on Wilshire Boulevard was opened in 1926 by Robert Cobb and Herbert Somborn. There are many theories about the building's appearance, including Somborn being told, if you know anything about food, you can sell it out of a hat. Crossroads of the World. Ella Crawford, widow of murdered underworld boss Charlie Crawford, funded the construction of this lavish outdoor shopping mall in 1936. It is designed to look like an ocean liner, and the 30-foot tower is topped with a revolving world globe. Musso and Frank's. Musso and Frank Grill opened in 1919. Though frequented by Hollywood stars, it is better known as the haunt of Hollywood screenwriters. Raymond Chandler spent time at the bar, as did his hero Philip Marlowe in the 1939 novel The Big Sleep. Max Factor Building. Max Factor acquired this building in 1928 and renovated with the help of theater architect S. Charles Lee. The remodeled studio included 4 special, color-coordinated makeup rooms, one each for blondes, redheads, brunettes, and brownettes. Grauman's Theater. The result of a partnership between showman Sid Grauman and backer C.E. Toberman, Grauman's Chinese Theater opened with the premiere of Cecil B. DeMille's The King of Kings, and has been hosting gala ceremonies ever since. Hotel Roosevelt. Ah, it didn't do the thing again.
Continue to respond.
Alright, well, that got us the trophy star map. I believe the Hotel Roosevelt is the one on my left. Yeah, it must be this one. Let's see if we can get a better shot of it. There we go, much better. The Hollywood Roosevelt was built in 1927 at a cost of $2.5 million. Its Blossom Room hosted the first ever Academy Awards ceremony on May 19, 1929, where Wings, a silent film about fighter pilots in World War I, won the inaugural award for Best Picture. Okay, so that is all 30 of the landmarks, and we got our trophy. So, we're all done here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.